how do you want to get fit? Like, how do you want to achieve great things? It doesn't really just happen overnight. How do you go from out of shape, not wanting to work out, to going to the gym all the time, loving it, and in shape? It's a pretty big jump, and it's definitely going to seem like a huge jump if you aren't fit. You hate the gym, you don't like healthy food because you think it tastes bad. And these are all things that are true to you right now. And people that are in shape or people that are healthy are going to come around and say, hey, just do it, and after 2 weeks you're going to like it. But that's hard to do. Like, first of all, you got to believe that person. Then you got to be willing to put in 2 weeks just to see if it's true. There's going to be loopholes. There's going to be options for you to get out and just quit and say, hey, go back to your old way. This way isn't working, And if you're not aware of all these excuses that your brain might say, first you have to acknowledge you're even addicted to your lifestyle. There's a reason why you're out of shape. There's a reason why you eat a bunch of fat. It's because you're addicted to it. And you need to admit that it's an addiction to overcome the addiction. If you don't think it's an addiction, you think you just do that because that's what you like. Well, I just happen to like this stuff more than broccoli. No. You don't like it more than broccoli. You're just addicted to it right now. The same way you can be addicted to bananas and dates, like I am now. And then I'm just going to eat those all the time. Like, I once ate chips. I once ate pizza. I once drank beer. I once ate chips. I once ate chips all the time. I used to think vegetables were fucking gross. But I don't think they're gross anymore. And it's because I started eating them more, and I stopped eating the bad stuff, and over time my taste buds just changed. More about fitness. How do you go from not thinking you're capable of much, like physically wise, like how do you start training for a marathon if you don't want to do a marathon? How do you start biking if you're not even into it? Like, someone's going to tell you, hey, go and get a goal about, go join a race. Well, how do you do that if you're not competitive? But I think to some extent everyone's competitive. I mean, a lot of people that don't, play sports, maybe they didn't grow up playing sports, they think they're just not competitive when it comes to sports, but I think it has a lot to do with your experience with sports in general. And I think you can change that. Just think about it like this. If you have the attitude where you feel like you're not competitive when it comes to sports, and that's why you don't want to get into it, that's why you don't want to go and, run races and stuff like that. Like, maybe you're really good at Scrabble. Are you competitive when it comes to Scrabble? I think your competitiveness is directly linked to just how good you think you are at something. And just from, high school and bad experiences, a lot of people just think they're not very competitive when it comes to sports, probably because, they, in gym class, all the girls gotta play with all those cocky asshole guys that play sports their whole life, like me. Like my wife, Kelsey, just until recently, she just thought she didn't like sports in general. Like, all sports, written off. But it turned out it was just, she didn't like soccer and basketball in high school because kids were always, running around her in circles, and she never got to play any, so she didn't get any better at the sports. And then all of a sudden you are crappier, and then you do feel like crap because you aren't as good. So, but now I got her running and biking and swimming, and she's about to do her first triathlon, and in the pool she's racing me now. Like, she's more competitive than me in the sports that I like. Why is that? It's because she's getting confident. So how do you gain confidence in sports that you're not very good at? It's pretty hard. How do you gain confidence in general to start thinking outside the box of what you think is possible? Well, one thing that worked for me was just all these books here. Just reading books, reading biographies, reading true stories about people, about people that are similar to you, or people that have even more disadvantages than what you have, and you start to realize, wait a minute, let's take a backtrack here. We are told time and time again that to become successful, you pretty much need to be like a genius, you need to have massive luck, or you need to have like really gifted genes, right? Like a professional athlete just had gifted genes, and maybe he had a rich family that got him in elite sports. Or a really rich businessman, well, he was a genius and he got a big break. We start reading books about just athletes and stuff like that, and you hear their real true story, you start to realize that yeah, they do have massive talent. That's not what I'm here to dispute, but they also are so human. They have their own insecurities. They were worried. They wanted to quit. They had huge, pitfalls that they could have quit, and they thought about it, but then they kept persevering on. And every time you read another book, or at least for me, every time I read another book, I started to believe more and more in myself. I started to think, well, if they can do it, I can do it. Why can't I do it? Why can't I? And that's what I want you to start doing. Like, I want you to believe that you are capable of anything. Like you're a human and I'm a human, and you're a direct descendant of generations of survivors, of people that lived through the toughest times, and that's your DNA. That's my DNA. And I think just too many people are using this negative thing with DNA where we just use it as a scapegoat. Like, oh, well, I just don't have good genes. It's like, no. It's all an attitude. It's all an attitude. Like, if you start to believe that, you're a survivor and you're meant to do that, and then you start to question, are you really doing everything you can do in a day? Everything that you're capable of doing in that day? Are you really pushing yourself that hard? Or are you just half-assing it just so you can say you tried your best? But really, you didn't. You just want to justify sitting back down on the couch. And I did that. I did that for so long, but there's always more to give. It's really hard, especially in our world, because we've been given everything, I'm not cold right now. It's cold outside, but I'm not cold right now because I'm in here, right? So when we're in a society where we get given everything, we have to push ourselves, and that's difficult, right? Our ancestors that were survivors, they were forced to survive. They were in the cold. They were starving. We're not in the cold and we're not starving. So, but it's still in us to push ourselves. So I would say read books, read books, or if not books, listen to podcasts, watch YouTube videos of people, because you're going to realize that people that are even more ordinary than you, people that have more setbacks, where the hell is it? Fearless. Read this guy's book. I'm pretty sure he was a heroin addict, and then he joined the SEALs. Yeah, he joined the SEALs when he was still addicted to heroin, and persevered through it. And if you don't know anything about the SEALs training, it is very hard to make it into the SEALs. He made it in. Then I'm pretty sure he lost. Okay, this is a couple years ago that I read the book, so I'm sorry if I'm a little inaccurate, but he went blind in one eye, kept going. He lost a finger or multiple fingers, kept going, became a sniper, learned to shoot with his opposite hand, and this is all competing against the best of the best, and he was still on top. And it was all a mindset. But then the first time you read a book like that, you might think, oh wow, he just must have great genes. Lucky him. I wish I had great genes. But then you read another book, You read a book, where's that Boston Strong? Doesn't matter. I read a book about the Boston Strong. There was a guy that in the Boston Marathon where the bombing was, he lost his leg, and the whole story is just about him trying to start walking again. And he's so real. He had addictions. He wasn't an athlete. He wasn't anything, but he struggled every day just trying to walk. And when you start reading stuff like that, you're like, wow, are my problems even that big? No. And he found a way. He found a way to push through. And just keep reading stuff like that, and you're going to be like, you know what? I'm capable of more. I can do it. And that's really kind of why I'm making this video right now. It's just so you can start thinking you can do it. I know you can do it. I was talking to my dad about running. And he's always said he's not a runner. And I said, you can run. If you want to train for it, you can totally do it. And I think a little bit in the back of his head, he kind of thought he can't do it. It's we're all human. We're all meant to run. Just What was our only skill? It was to run. What else could we have done? You know, there was no deadlifts. There was no bench press. It was running, climbing over stuff. You know, we're meant to do that. But you gotta learn from people, and then you gotta adapt. And that's why I really like books, you know? You get to sit down, and it's essentially like having a one-on-one conversation for like a couple hours with someone that was awesome. And what more do you want? Like, what a better way to spend $10? Or just go to, you know, just go to a thrift shop. They're like $1. Like, I don't know. I know, I'm pretty old-fashioned, but the book thing. But I just read some books, and not like Twilight shit either. I fucking hate that. Like, stop reading, stop watching stuff that allows you to forget your life, like entertainment. It just allows you to forget what's going on in your own life. Start watching and listening to things that are actually going to drive you to do something better. I don't know. And I'm not like a famous person or anything, but that's just my attitude now. And I am driven to become a better person, to become successful, to become happy, to do great things for people. And I think we're all capable of that. And yeah, it's really easy to say to someone, oh, well, you're not even, you know, you're not famous. You're nothing right now. Like, why are you talking? But then once I make it, you know, in some crazy world, if I do make it, people are going to say, oh yeah, well, he was driven more than me. You know, it's a catch-22. Like, which is it? So it's like, you can either take my advice now when I'm a nobody, or when I make it, you're just going to think I'm trying to sell you something. Oh, and you should probably subscribe. I forgot to say that. I'm pretty new and I don't really know much of the rules. You could also not subscribe. That would hurt more. But if you do subscribe, it's going to let me know that you like this video, and then I'll keep making these videos. And if you don't like it, then definitely don't subscribe, because I'm going to make more of those videos, and then you're going to be even more angry. And I don't really want to make you that angry. You know, I've already made you angry enough by wasting 2 or 3 minutes of your life. So I'm sorry about that. Bye.